and welcome back to the Sticks plus Twine episode. This is episode 11, if you can believe it. I have a hard time believing that it's actually been that many. So I just wanted to say such a big thanks to everybody who has supported and encouraged and reached out. And I don't think I would be continuing to do this if I hadn't had such a great response. So the fact that you've been such a big part of my knitting journey to this point and will obviously continue, I can't say thank you enough. So I'll introduce myself. My name is Eric. I live in Toronto, in Ontario, in Canada. I live here with my partner Sebastian, and this is a podcast about primarily knitting and some other sort of stuff, but primarily knitting. So first of all, I'm just going to say I am available on, I can be reached on Instagram as e.p.lutz, and I can also be reached on Ravelry at eplutz or z. And we have a group for the podcast, and that group is the Sticks plus Twine group. Just do a quick search and you'll find it. And we'd love to have you join us. There's some great conversations happening, particularly lately, about some of the stuff that's going on in the group. But I'll talk more about that later. I'm going to apologize in advance. Living in the downtown part of Toronto, as with most big cities, there's a lot of weird noise that happens randomly. Right now, it looks like there is some kind of, I can't see it, but I can hear it, that there is a concert, music event. There's loud music playing. And I don't know where it's coming from. I know it's outside because I can hear it kind of echoing amongst the buildings. And so if you hear any of that in the background, I apologize. Hopefully the audio won't pick it up too much, but if it does, I'm sorry. There's not much I can do about it. So what else would I like to say? We are closing in on, I think as of this morning, it was just over 1,800 subscribers. There is a giveaway that I'm going to be hosting. The thread is already up in the Ravelry group for when we hit 2,000 YouTube subscribers. The prizes I announced in last week's podcast. So if you haven't already, please do hit subscribe. It really just lets me know that that you're interested, and it gives you the chance to get notifications when I post a new update, a new episode. So feel free to hit subscribe, and the sooner we hit 2,000, the sooner we do the good giveaway. So if you haven't seen the prizes, do go and watch last week's episode because I think they're pretty spectacular. So let's see, what else is new? I'll talk about my tea, which is in my Harry Potter Gryffindor mug, which, sorry about the reflection. It's actually surprisingly, last weekend was super cold. Today, it's like 10 degrees Celsius outside. And I'm actually wearing a sweater that I'm probably going to regret having put on because it's a little too warm, but that's okay. Today, I am drinking blackberry sage tea. It's really good. This is from Republic of Tea. I know I got it in a swap, and I just can't remember who it was. It may have been Mina, but I don't know for sure, so don't quote me on that. And I apologize if you sent it and I didn't. I don't always write down the teas that came in with, so I'm sorry. I've got so much tea. Over to this brown box here is where we actually have like glassware and stuff for entertaining. And there's a drawer in it that is literally full of tea. I am under a tea embargo. Sebastian is not letting me buy any more tea. So never fear. We will be doing another tea swap. In the summer, we'll do an iced tea swap. So by then, hopefully, I'll need some replenishment. But for now, I've got my blackberry sage tea. I did add a little bit of Splenda to it just to, I think I steeped it just a little bit too long. I found the sage was it adds a really good counterbalance of bitterness to the sweetness of the blackberry, but I think I steeped it just a bit too long, so I needed just a little something just to clear it up a bit. So let's get on with the knitting. I've got my handy dandy show notes here in front of me, and I am using my Star Wars Stormtrooper notebook, which is going to be my all things Sticks plus Twine and knitting notebook. And of course, I missed a Stormtrooper matching pen. FOs, let's start there because that's easy. There are none this week. It was a short week this week. It was a long weekend, so we had Monday off. But as you'll see when we get into whips, I've made some really good progress on one of my whips. So nothing's quite finished, but it's getting there. Next episode, there'll be quite a few whips, I think. Or sorry, FOs. So whips. Let's talk about whips. First of all, sorry, I'm going to make a little noise. Cover your ears. There we go. In my Mrs. Brown's sock bag, which I'm in love with. Thank you so much, Jody. I just love this bag. If you haven't checked out her Etsy shop, you should. This is the Lutz collection, and I'm in love with it. And it just so happens that it matches my sock really, really well. Hold that up a little bit closer so you can see it. This is the Petty Harbor pattern. And I actually did, I forgot to mention this last time, I actually did a 1x1 twisted rib on this. I've never done a twisted rib before, and I thought I would try it. And after hearing so many people just raving about how much they love a twisted rib, I think Sue and Chelsea, I think you love a twisted rib, and Katie from KT, not Katie, I'll get in trouble from Sue if I pronounce it incorrectly. I think you do a twisted rib as well. And I'd never tried it, and I thought I'd try it, and I actually quite like it. What I love about this pattern is it's super, super stretchy and squishy, and I know it's going to fit really well. And so I have done I did a traditional heel flap, slip stitch heel flap. I did not do fish lips kiss heel on this one. I just really wanted to maintain the sort of ribbing pattern, and it's what's written in the pattern is to do traditional sort of heel flap. I can't wait to get back to working on this because I really want to wear these. And I will say, I know Jody and Tracy on the Grocery Girls podcast were just raving this week about Hedgehog, and I know Chelsea and Sue had gone to their special location. I won't ruin it for you in case you haven't watched it yet, where they were talking about how much they love Hedgehog, and I'll admit I'm in love with it too. In case you are interested, I saw that there is an update on the Hedgehog Fibers Instagram feed about they are going to be opening their yarn clubs again. I think it's sometime, you'll look them up on Instagram, but it's coming, it's imminent. I'm not going to participate in this round. I just don't want to spend the money on it right now. I have more than enough yarn in my stash, as you will have seen if you watch I think it's episode 8 post Vogue Knitting Live. I have enough sock yarn to last me a little while. Doesn't always stop me from acquiring things, but in this case, I think I'd best not. I think it'd be dangerous. So I made some good progress on that. I have not done the other one yet because I've been pretty monogamously knitting on another project, which I will show you in a moment. So that's one. The Rift sweater, sorry, I thought there was a bit of fluff there. The Rift sweater that you will have seen last week has had zero progress. I'm not going to show it this week. Again, because I've been monogamously knitting on one, which is so unusual for me. I don't usually just knit on one project. But there you go. There you have it. What else was I working on? Cozy Memories blanket, I'm going to come back to in a moment. I'm not going to show it, but I do want to talk about it for a sec. So let's talk about the big project. This is in my Bags by Terry Downton Abbey bag that I won in a giveaway, which I'm in love with. And I thought it was so appropriate for this particular project. Not so much that it's the color, but the bag itself is just perfect. So I am working on a test knit shawl. The designer is Debbie Reese, and she is one half of the Periscoping Sisters. If you have not checked her out, you should. I want to make sure I'm showing the front here. Sorry if there's any clanging from the needles on the table. It's a glass table, so it might make some noise. Okay, this is the front. I think, yes. This is, to be honest, my very first actual shawl that I have knit. I'm going to show it from the top down. I started this again. I decided to frog back my initial starting point on this, and I started this on Monday. So you can see I've made some pretty good progress. I'm about 70% done. I will say this. I am in love with these colors. This color is the Sweet Georgia Tough Love Sock in Raspberry, and the variegated is the, that doesn't really show it off all that well. There we go. This is Candy Floss from Richard DeVries. Sorry, I'm covering my face. Candy Floss from Richard DeVries in his fingering white sock yarn. And I'm in love with both of these colors. I'm almost done the first of these. The skeins are a little small from the Richard DeVries ones because I think they're hand painted and hand speckled and all that sort of stuff. So they're a little bit smaller. I need to buy 2. So I still have the second one. No big deal. I'll have lots of leftover. It's being my first actual shawl. I will say this. I don't know how you guys do it, you ladies that knit shawls and guys that knit shawls consistently, because these rows are getting long, y'all. Like long, like 350, 400 stitches, and there's more to go. That's a long row length. I'm not used to doing anything quite that length. So now knitting, knitting, knitting. I'll just get to the end of the row, just get to the end of the row. I'll reward myself with, I don't know, like a sip of tea or something when I get there. But I really do. I'm enjoying the pattern. It is striped garter stitches with a really kind of interesting inset panel that's got a cool stitch motif. I will say that, oops, sorry about that. The stitch motif I was having a little bit of trouble with because I was finding that the stitches are kind of sliding off the needle as I was trying to, so you have to sort of knit back a little bit. So I started using a crochet hook to pick up the yarn through the second half of the motif that you pull in. And I actually really found that helpful. It's a little bit slower, but it's really, really helpful. So I believe the goal is to have this pattern released the first week of March. I think it's the 4th. I could be wrong. Sorry, Debbie, if I'm misquoting. But I really think that that's going to be that'll be a fun pattern for you guys. I will say up to this point, it has gone really quickly. I've only been knitting on this in the evenings. So Monday for the most part of the day, evenings for the rest of the week. And I was hoping to have this done by now. Wishful thinking, right? But I have a feeling it'll be done by the end of the weekend. And I am going to give this to my mom for Mother's Day. So thanks, Debbie. I am loving it. And thanks, Terry, for the bag. It's an awesome bag. I think there's something to be said for the extra amount of interfacing that's on this, too. It's really sturdy. I think if you order one, you'll like it. So let's see. Talked about that one. Talked about that one. See, I don't have a pencil. I have my pen today. Talked about that one. Switching. Okay, cozy memories blanket. So last episode, I asked for a bit of input into how people track and make sort of record who gave them what in swaps and what yarns they're using and that sort of stuff. And it was really interesting. There were a few people who were super hyper organized. Oh my God. There's some conversation in the episode 10 thread in the Ravelry group if you're interested in catching up. And I found that level of organization put mine to shame. Holy moly, that's a lot. But what I have decided to do, and I feel like there was I wouldn't say consensus, but there was a good conversation around it, is I'm going to record who contributed to the blanket. But at the end of the day, I don't know if a little, 3.5 inch by 3.5 inch square memory necessarily is going to be the one that brings back the memories. So I'm going to start this. I'm going to say, let's just hashtag share the cozy. I'm going to spread the love across the entire blanket from everybody who participated and joined. If that's disappointing to you, I'm sorry, I guess. Really, it doesn't mean to be dismissive, and I'm hoping you're not taking it that way. I know some people have really gone above and beyond in contributing to the blanket, and I'm eternally grateful for that. And it's not meant to slight anybody either, but I just feel like I would rather remember the people than the product or the portion that they contributed to, because I'm so grateful to everybody, even if it was one skein. Super, super grateful. So that's my Cozy Memories blanket. I have not made any progress on it this week. As I just said, I've been focusing really very much on the Wendy Sky Shawl. I hope I said the name earlier. I would have put it down, I'm sure, somewhere around here as a title. So hopefully you will have seen that. So that's the Cozy Memories blanket, and I'm going to take a quick little break, reset my stuff around me, and I'll come back and we'll start talking about what else is going on, what's in the future, and what's been happening this week. Okay, we'll see you in a moment. Hi, back again. So we just left off talking about whips and FOs, and now I want to talk a little bit about some upcoming projects and some knit-alongs that are happening that I'm participating in before we get into sort of other stuff. So knit-alongs, these are only ones that I'm participating in. It is not an exhaustive list of KALs that are happening. If you're interested in seeing the list of all the KALs, I suggest you visit Mina, the Knitting Expats group, has a running list of all of the knit-alongs that are happening. So there's quite a few going on. So what am I participating in? The Slow down, Eric. I'm getting too excited. There's a quince along happening in Lara from the Fawn Knits that is all about knitting with Quince & Co. yarn. So big check mark on my Rift sweater because it's entirely being knit out of Quince & Co. Lark in the Frost colorway. So ching ching, going to be contributing to that. Mina from the Knitting Expat and Nessa from the Kill to Craft podcast are also hosting a sweater along. So I will also be participating in that one, which is great. A new one to me that I know has been talked about before. I think Sue and Chelsea talked about this in the Legacy Knits podcast, but there's a Canadian patterned sock knit along that's happening, and that's Jen from the Lone Larch podcast is hosting that one. And so you have to knit a pair of patterned socks, so it has to be not plain vanilla. And the entry requirement is that it has to be knit out of a Canadian sock yarn, or I guess Canadian yarn overall, or it has to be knit out of a design that is created by a Canadian designer. So I'm going to be entering in my Petty Harbour socks because they are from a Canadian designer, which is great. And I should have that finished in the next couple of days. So hopefully, I don't remember the timelines. You'll visit the podcast and you'll figure that out. So that's those knit-alongs. There's also the Finish in Feb KAL that's happening that Kemper from the Junk Yarn podcast is hosting. I have a few projects that I meant to get finished, and if I have time this month, I will. I'm going to try to anyway. And then Danny from Little Bobbins is also hosting a Little Along, which is projects that are little in scope or size or for little people that are meant to be started and finished in February. So if you'll remember, I think it was 2 podcasts ago, so it would have been episode 9. I was talking about how I'm going to be making the Gramps cardigan for one of my colleagues for her upcoming child who will be born at the end of March, and her son. I'm going to make them sort of contrasting but matching Gramps cardigans, which I have not been able to start because I didn't have the right needles. My correct sizes are currently being used for my Rift sweater, so I just ordered a second set of tips from Knit Picks, which technically acquisitions, but you know what? I'm not going to really show those off because they're steel tips. Like, what are you going to do? So I will be starting that hopefully as soon as I can get through at least the Wendy Sky Shawl. Then I will be casting on probably the smaller one of the two because I know I can get that one done pretty quick. I'm making a newborn size, so it'll be pretty easy. So that's that one. Talking about podcasts. So I have been watching a lot of podcasts this week, and I know that there's quite a few new podcasters who have reached out to me as well to watch theirs. I apologize if I'm going to just sort of do a quick list of all the ones that I've watched this week. If I have not yet watched yours, it's not that I don't want to. It's on my watch later list. I just haven't got through my entire schedule of them yet. So watched Mina from Knitting Expat, and I love watching Mina. I can't do it all in one sitting usually because I have other things to do halfway through, but that's okay. I always come back and finish them off. I watched Kristen from Yarngasm. I don't want to forget anybody, that's why I made a list. Molly from Homespun House. Danny from Little Bobbins, which I just adore. And Danny, I love that you're obsessed with pink. It's so not my color, but I love when people are obsessed with pink. It makes me very happy. And Molly, I think you've been knitting a lot with pink as well. Just it really truly makes me happy. I watched Jenny and Devin from Tiny Paper Foxes. Their new episode came out this week, so I was thrilled to see that. It made me really, really happy. I caught up with all of the episodes from Candace from Pin, Feathers, and Pearls. I also watched Carlene from Made with Carlenergy, which is great. I caught up with Adrian on the Freakish Lemon podcast. And my lovely Katie from Inside Number 3 posted her new one, and I'm going to come back and talk about 50 points for Gryffindor. Yay! No sound effects this week. Maybe. We'll see. Let's try it again. 50 points for Gryffindor! Okay, there we go. Caught up with Josh from Sort of a Knitter, who was traveling to Sweden this week and did a Periscope, which was kind of fun. Love that. Chelsea and Sue from Legacy Knits, and that was awesome. Love that. And I love catching. If you don't catch Sue, if you're not on Periscope, try watching. She does, I think, Sue, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's almost daily, or you try to almost daily in the mornings, do a Periscope. She's Knit 24 on that. So I love watching hers. And last week I meant to, but I didn't catch it live. But if you haven't watched the Dr. Chris Kelly's Periscope, which it's not just the most enabling thing that I've ever seen, it's the most educational, which from a doctor and an instructor, you kind of would think that would be the case, which is good. But I love catching her. For me, it's 3 p.m. Eastern. I think it's 2 p.m. Central on Periscope as well. You should check her out. She's Halcyon, I'll put it in the down bar. She's a lot of fun. And then who else? Andy is not podcasting this week, but I caught up with her last week, which is great. I love her. I love her episodes. Andy, you're just amazing. I just adore you. I caught up with Shannon from Sockcetera, and I started watching Jen from Lone Larch as well, which is kind of cool. And I love the short hair. So we're not quite twinsies. You've still got a lot on me, so don't worry, dear. You're good. And then just today, I finally, it was only out for like a day or two, caught up with Jody and Tracy from the Grocery Girls podcast. And I adore those ladies. I think they're so much fun. So we are going to, at some point this year, we are going to do a podcast together. That's going to happen. And it's funny that you mentioned the October 1st and 2nd in Vancouver. There's a fire festival that's out there. October could be a challenging kind of month because we're currently scheduled to go on vacation at the end of the month. I don't think it's going to happen. I just feel like we're going to be too busy, so we're going to reschedule that. But I'm also going to Rhinebeck, which is, I think, the second weekend in October. That's happening, 100% for sure. Hotel's already booked. Sebastian's prepped and preparing himself for the drive. Because we are going to drive. We're not going to fly to New York and then rent a car or anything. We're just going to drive down. It's not that far. It's far enough to Rhinebeck. I guess it's about 7.5 hours, 8 hours. But, it's a beautiful drive through the Hudson Valley. So we're going to do it. But the one in October, the first weekend, I guess that's the 1st and 2nd of October in Vancouver. That's actually the day after my birthday. So you never know. I just might do that. You never know. We'll see. So there are a lot more new podcasters that are coming out. I promise I will, if you've reached out to me and said, hey, I've got a podcast too, would you mind watching? I will, absolutely. I love watching this stuff. It's not just an obsession, it's a passion. So I will get to it. If I haven't yet, please forgive me. I will. But you can see just from this list, there's a lot of great podcasters. But I also want to say that I'm really, really impressed with the number of Canadian podcasts. Oh my gosh. And how could I forget, Meredith and Natasha? You're on my list. I just forgot to mention you. From Wool Gathering Collective. So many great, amazing Canadian knitting podcasts. I'm in love with this. I think it's fantastic. So that's it for podcast news. I do have a couple of people who have reached out who have said that they would love to do co-host a knit along, stuff like that. If you're interested in doing that, feel free, reach out, let me know. I love the co-hosting of knit along ideas. I know right now until probably beginning of May, we're going to be focusing on the next topic, which is coming up very, very shortly. And but certainly for sort of late spring, early summer into the fall, please do let me know if you're interested, and we'll plan something. So that's that. I think it's time for me to flip the page. And with a page flip comes another little break. We'll be right back. Okay, and we're back. So, after all of that, I'm going to talk about the current knit along that's happening in the Sticks plus Twine group, which is the Exploration Station. There has been a huge amount of response around this, and I couldn't be happier. I couldn't be more thrilled. Primarily from a very selfish point of view, I didn't want to be doing this alone. So, yay to everybody who's joined. Just to be really clear, we are in the prep phase at the moment. The actual cast on date is March 1st. If you cast on early, okay, fine. I'm not going to stop you. But at this point, what we're really doing is we're focusing on sharing our yarn selections, color choices. There was last week I talked a little bit about a template that you can use to sort of color in to see how you might like your color choices together. There'll be another link to that as well. And I have to apologize. My show notes for last week didn't update for some reason. I thought I'd saved it, and I have to go back and redo it, and it's just a bit of a palaver. So I will get to it, I promise. So we are swatching. Some of us are swatching, not everybody, and that's fine. You don't have to. I will say this. It was also meant to be a moment to learn brioche, two-color brioche knitting. So last night I got home and I tried to learn how to do two-color brioche. And it did not go well. Let me say that. It's the first thing in knitting that for some reason my brain did not want to get its little head wrapped around. I tried really hard. I ripped it back and ripped it out and completely redid it 3 times. And after the 3rd time, I just said, forget it. I am going back to knitting garter stitch rows and my Windy Sky shawl because that I know how to do. I think my brain was just too tired. It wasn't the greatest of weeks, I'm not going to lie. This week it was a bit of a tough one. Not any one thing in particular that really got to me, but it was just a challenging week. Sometimes short weeks are like that. So I thought, rather than get frustrated with myself and rather than get all annoyed and pissed off, I just thought, just put it away. I'll try it again later. So I'm sure other people have had zero problem with brioche. I know Mina's test knitting and has some test knitters knitting an entire shawl done in brioche, and it looks fantastic. And the part that I did right felt fantastic. But it's just not so good. So I'm going to go back and try that again. However, I will share, and I shared this on my Instagram feed, this is a swatch of, hang on, maybe this will do it. There we go. This is my 4 colors that I have chosen for the Exploration Station. The top is Manhattan Schist. The one below that is, actually I'll do it this way because this is going to be the color order. Color A is going to be Manhattan Schist. Color B is Brooklyn Brownstone. Color C is Grand Central Station Ceiling. And color D is, which is this, the lighter taupe, is Urban Flagstone. These are all Madeline Tosh Merino Light. And these are in the exclusive Nitty City colorways, and I talked about that in my post Vogue Knitting Live episode, where I talked about getting these and picking them up and having Mina help me pick out the colors. I'm in love with the yarn. It's so light. It's like super light. I can't wait to actually see how the whole thing comes out. I did block this just because I wanted to see how, as a fabric, it would come together, and I'm really liking it. So I'm excited. I can't wait. I have decided on my colors A through D, and yeah, so we're almost there. So March 1st is cast on. I will be doing my brioche in colors B and C because I want to see them side by side. See how that works. It worked well when I saw them together, when I tested it. The learning part that I did do right, I really liked how they turned out. So I'm going to keep doing that. So that's Exploration Station. I am going to talk a little bit about something that's not really, it's not a knit along. It's Katie from Inside Number 23 talked, I guess it was quite a while ago now, maybe a month ago, about her 50 points for Gryffindor, which we do it again. Okay, sound effects. Yay, 50 points for Gryffindor! And so I put together a spreadsheet that I was going to use to track mine, and a few people in her thread on the Inside Number 23 podcast group, which she has now open. If you haven't joined it, you should. I posted the link there for anybody else who also wanted to use it, and there will be in this week's show notes a link as well if you want to use it. It's a Google Docs document that is not editable by anyone but me, so don't try and use it online. It's not going to work. Just have to download the file, and then you can use it in whatever spreadsheet program you like. You'll see from a little bit later when I talk about acquisitions that I may already have dipped into my my points. I know. Anyway, so that's kind of fun. Before I talk about acquisitions, I'm going to talk about some reading. I'll just move that out of the way. So I picked up a couple of books in the library this week. I picked up, first one is the Book of Socks from Clara Parks. I haven't actually had a chance to crack it open yet because it's been a bit of a busy week, but I'm really excited to see the different patterns and the different types, to see what else is in here. So that I think might be a good one. The reason that this one came back on my radar is her new book release just came out this week, which is called Knitlandia, which is, I don't remember what the subtitle is. I'll put a picture over here of the book. So I pre-ordered it from iTunes, from the iBook store. And I've just got into it, and I love the fact that there's short little snippets. I can get a little bit of reading, whether I'm on the streetcar or just a little bit before bed. I can read a little essay or two, and I'm loving it. So if you are a fan of her writing, if you have not read any of her other books, I had just finished The Yarn Whisperer as well. Really enjoyed that. If you're a fan of her writing, then you should check that out. I also picked up at the library this book. I'm trying to keep the reflection to a minimum so you can see it, because it's all metallic, you can see, on knitwear design. I just thought, it's more high fashion knitwear design. Like, yeah, that's not going to happen. But I just thought as a exercise in understanding how knitwear design has evolved and matured over time, it would be an interesting thing to read. So they just had it there available. Oh, look, I didn't even notice. There's some men's patterns and, designs. I don't think there's any actual patterns in here, but it does have directions on how to take measurements, analyzing your design, what machine knitting is like. So I just thought it'd be kind of fun. Doesn't mean I'm going to design anything, y'all, yet. I am still listening to the Force Awakens audiobook. I think 3/4 of the way through it or so, just based on knowing the storyline. I'm about 3/4 of the way through. Still really enjoying it. Makes it really enjoyable to walk to work when I'm listening to stuff. So that's cool. And then I've got two last things that we're going to come back and talk about before we wrap it up for the week. So take a short break and we'll be right. We'll take a short break and I'll be right back. And we're back. So we just have two things left to get through, and that'll be it for this week. So, but they're both very exciting. One is acquisitions, and the second is our giveaway. The men's accessories KAL concluded, and I picked the winner ahead of time, and we'll talk about who that is. So first, let's talk about acquisitions. This week, I got only two things in the mail. I did not go to any yarn shops this week. I decided to keep and be good. But I did get in a Knit Picks order, and Heidi from Germany and I had decided to do one last, well, maybe it's not the last, but to do another swap of yarn. She'd asked for some Felice and some Stroll, and I was thinking of placing a Knit Picks order anyway. So I did that, I guess, about 2 weeks ago, and it came in this week. So I have two skeins of the Knit Picks Stroll that came in, and this is in the Flagstone Heather in their Stroll Tweed colorway, and I'm in love with all the little tweedy bits. It's so me, this colorway. It's perfectly me. I can't wait to start using it. I will say that I think the Felice is actually softer to the hand pre-wash. I won't say once they're blocked, because I think I don't have anything to compare them to. I haven't used the Stroll yet, but I'm really looking forward to turning that into cool pairs of socks. So I know Heidi's going to have, I'll be putting her stuff in the post today, along with the few little goodies for her. And I'm looking forward to seeing the ones that she sent me. So she sent me a really sort of comprehensive list of the different types of sock yarn that I was interested in, different colorways, and I picked a few, and she's going to surprise me with one. So I'm excited to see that come through. That'll be fun. And then I think I'm good for sock yarn for a while, I hope. So I also got, as part of my Knit Picks order, I ordered a Pendleton needle case. And this is in the, it's gray, and this is gray flannel. And if you haven't seen one of these before, and I didn't really look to see if anyone had done a review before I bought it, it's got this flap in the middle that is padded, that you use to hold your needle tips in, and it's got on both sides. I'm not going to turn it over because I did that and all the needles went whoop, and just slid right out, so be careful if you get them. And then on the outer portions, there are 2 zip pockets as well, and that's... Sorry, there's a siren going by. Maybe it'll be loud, maybe it won't. Okay, it's quieter now. And that's where I'm putting my fixed circulars, like sock needles and that sort of stuff will go in those. In that side, and on this bottom side, these are all cables. So they are all the cables for the interchangeables. So I'm really, really happy I got this. The fabric's actually really a lot nicer than I thought it was going to be, but it's Pendleton, so of course it would be, right? So really, really like that. And then the last thing I got in was I got a swap package that I've been waiting for a little while, but totally understood why. And I'd spoken with the person with whom I had swapped, and she let me know that there was a bit of a delay. So that's totally fine. She just had some personal things happening. That's all cool, not an issue. But it arrived today. This week. So in the swap package were, of course, a bunch of lovely, I'm not apologizing for the crinkling because it's not that bad. And as Jody said, it means you got something. So there's a bunch of minis in there, which will be added to the bowl o' minis. This way, there we bowl o' minis, which will go into my blanket. Thank you very much for that. And this was, Jules sent me these. She's a gorgeous lady from Vermont. She also sent me a little bit of soak, which I love. I know soak isn't considered to be like the hardiest of washes, like it won't scour anything, but I really like it. I like using soak a lot, and they're Canadian, so go figure. She also sent me this cutest little mini sock, which is really, really cute. I love that. I think I'm gonna have to make a few more of these and make sort of a garland for Christmas. And then she actually works at a spice company. So she sent me a couple of spice mixes. This one's smoky chipotle for burgers. This one is for pasta, sun-dried tomato, basil, Alfredo, which I'm loving that. Garlic, tomato, basil dip and cooking blend. A farmhouse corn cheddar chowder mix. And 2 more. One is this is the cheddar ale dip mix. And the sea salted caramel cheesecake mix, which sounds amazing. So there's more than enough in these to make more than one batch. So thank you very much for that. I can't wait to start using those. And then lastly, she also sent me a wonderful skein of Blue Ridge Yarns. Yeah, Blue Ridge Yarns footprints. Sock yarn. This is Superwash Merino, which is lovely. This is the Chianti colorway, so it has this cool variegation, and I'll explain this in a moment. I bet you know what that is. But it goes from sort of this really cool burgundy wine color to purples to, I would say it's black at the end. Like I love that. That's going to be really cool socks. And that is the part for contrasting heels, cuffs, and toes. So I'm looking forward to trying that out too. That's going to be really cool. I know somebody who loves these colors, so I may make those actually as a gift and continue to share the cozy. Start using it. # share the cozy. Okay, so that's all my acquisitions for this week. There wasn't a lot more. It was Valentine's Day on the weekend after I podcasted. And we didn't really do much for Valentine's. We really typically don't. And we had just gone away, obviously, as you would know from last week, to Orlando for our anniversary. So we didn't really do a whole huge amount. Sebastian did buy me some really, really nice chocolate from the hotel that he works at, which was really nice. There's still a little bit left. But that did not last very long. Oh, and Jules actually did send some chocolate and some goodies along with the swap package, and those are long gone. Those got eaten right away, and I won't say who ate them. I don't know who ate those. So it was good. We had a party at Sebastian's at the hotel he works at this week as well. They had sort of their Christmas party, which was in the sort of main entertaining banquet space at the hotel. The food was fantastic. We didn't stay very long. I had a wicked headache. This weather this week has been honestly really bizarre. The day of the event, it was essentially blizzarding. You couldn't see more than, I don't know, you can't see, but I can see. There's buildings all around, and you couldn't see more than half a kilometer away. I don't know what that is in miles, sorry, but it was not that far. It was really blizzarding. Then at noon, the temperature switched, and by evening, it was raining. Like, weird as anything. So I had a bit of a migraine, so we didn't stay terribly long. I didn't feel that great, but I went anyway. You know, sometimes you just have to suck it up and go. So that was fun. We had a good week that way. You know, just some other weird stuff happened this week and just made it a bit challenging. So it wasn't a fun week, but it was a productive week. Let's just say that. And then today's Saturday. Not planning on doing much tonight. We may see a friend for a drink this evening. We may not. Depends really on how Sebastian feels when he gets home from work. He's working quite late tonight and works again tomorrow. I plan on doing nothing much more than knitting. I may go for a walk. It's beautiful and it's warm outside. But I know if I go for a walk, I'm going to end up at the yarn store and I'm going to end up buying something. I do want to buy a new pair of sock needles. I have more than enough pairs of Hayahayas, sharps, and just Hayahaya regulars in 2.5, and I think I have 2.25, 2.5, and 2.75 millimeter needles. But I really want a pair of Addy Sock Rockets. I really, really want to try them out. I just hear people love them, and I love the Hayahayas, but I still haven't found what I'm looking for, if you know what I mean. So I don't know. If I go for a walk, I'll probably end up there. Maybe I'll just go for coffee. Who knows? But now let's just get to the last thing we have to talk about today, which is the Men's Accessories Knit Along giveaway. Earlier today, actually it wasn't today. When did I do it? That was the day that it closed, actually. I pulled in random number generator. I will put that picture here so you can see. I took the screenshot of it. We had 33 entries in the finished objects thread, and the winner was number 12. Number 12 is Vin Girl on Ravelry. Her name is Michelle. She is from Indiana, and she knit the Tamarugo hat by Anna, I want to say this right, Hentika, and the handbrake cowl from KF Jones. A lot of handbrakes got made, and I'm really glad. I know that they've given away the pattern now for free, but I know it raised a ton of money for cancer research in the UK. So I think it was about £1,300, which is a lot. So I'm glad to see. I know I was gifted the pattern, but I also gifted it a couple of times myself. So congratulations, Kay, for making such a great contribution to cancer research. And congratulations to Michelle for winning. So I am going to, I'm not going to reach out to you because I want you to find out and be surprised. Hopefully you watch the podcast. And when you do, just reach out to me on Ravelry and you can send me your address details and I will send you your prize. I will say that I have not yet received the stitch markers from Australia, so I may have to send those separately. I don't want you to necessarily have to wait for your fabulous prize. But as a reminder, your prize consists of the stitch markers, which is great. There'll be a surprise. And this most amazing bag from Jody of Mrs. Brown's Bags. With her trademark leather tassel. And Jody, you should really be trademarking that because I know everybody loves that tassel. This is a most beautiful bag. It's fully lined. It's gorgeous. It's got this amazing, almost knit canvas feel to the bottom of the bag. It's soft as anything. So that will be coming to you, Michelle. And also, I said that I would be offering something from my personal collection. And what that will be is this wonderful tea carousel here. Last week, you will have seen that I provided sort of an overview of all of the flavors. Pick one, and I'm going to include that in the prize for you as well. So I have not taken any of them out, so they all exist for you, or just let me know if you want to be surprised, and I'll pick something that I think you might like. So congratulations to Michelle. Yay! And stay tuned. We've got a bunch more exciting prizes. There's prizes I haven't even talked about, y'all, that I will be in the Exploration Station knit along, that I will be doing spot prizes along the way for each of the phases. And you don't even know what they are yet, but I do. So that's it for this week. Thank you very, very much for spending some time with me. I appreciate each and every one of you who spends even part of your day with me, listening to me ramble on about knitting and life and such. And it is Saturday the 20th, and the next one I will try and podcast next Saturday. We may or may not have plans next Saturday, so it may be a day delayed. But have a great week. Enjoy your projects, and happy knitting. Talk to you soon. Bye.